right, Sports Talk Nation. Welcome back once again. It's your host, the G-Man, as we continue with our team-by-team 2016 NFL Fantasy Preview. Today, we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and your cup runneth over with Pittsburgh Steelers. There are a lot of positions across the board that you simply can't go wrong. Le'Veon Bell last year was probably the number one overall pick. Now, wide receiver has overtaken that. This year, I'll say he's in the top 3 fantasy running backs, despite his injury concerns, despite suspension challenges. Le'Veon Bell, I think, is going to be an absolute beast. They missed him. He provides balance to that offense, even though D'Angelo Williams did a great job. Le'Veon Bell, top 3 fantasy running back. That is only bettered by Antonio Brown, who, in my opinion, is not only the number 1 fantasy receiver. Yes, that includes both in PPR and standard leagues, but I think he may be my number 1 player. If I'm lucky enough to get the number 1 overall pick, I have a tendency to love to get the running back, specifically because now running backs are more rare. So a guy who plugs and gets 1,500 yards is even more valuable, but I don't know that I could leave Antonio Brown on the board. He catches everything. He gets deep. He scores touchdowns. He winds up with 15, 16, 1,700 yards. The guy's just an absolute beast. The next big stud, Ben Roethlisberger. Again, I expected it last year. I'm calling for it again this year. Quarterback, I think, is pretty deep at the top this year, but I think Big Ben's a top 5 quarterback this year. I think he's up there with the Aaron Rodgers of the world, who could probably have a huge bounce back. Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, Big Ben's right in that mix. I think he's an absolute stud this year. You're only going to get 14 games out of him generally. You hope that he misses games early and that he doesn't have lingering injuries the rest of the time. But Big Ben can absolutely play. Marcus Wheaton is actually a realistic number 4 receiver. You look at the last half of last year, caught a lot of balls, caught 4 touchdowns in 7 games. He's not going to wow you. I compare him to last year with Willie Snead, right? No one expected Willie Snead to be what he was. They're going to throw the ball in Pittsburgh. Wheaton is the clear number 2. Everyone has a mouthful of Sammy Coates. I think Sammy Coates is a young guy, will probably do okay, but I'll take Wheaton any day over Sammy Coates. So I think Wheaton's probably a 4, maybe even a late end 3. Sammy Coates to me is like a 5 or 6 lottery ticket at the end. From a tight end perspective, Ladarius Green is supposed to be the next big thing for many, many years. He's never been the next big thing, and he's a guy that I won't take my chance on. I consider him a low-end number 2. If you see he's doing well early in the year, maybe you take him and put him on your bench if your league requires 2 tight ends. But I would not be investing a lot in Ladarius Green. Kickers are kickers, despite kicker problems, by the way. Feel bad for Sean Swisham. He actually failed his physical. Guy had a terrible knee injury, so hats off to him. He was a real good kicker for a long time. From a defensive perspective, normally you take Pittsburgh because of their ability to get after the passer and that's their style, but they just give up too many points for me to be willing to take a shot at them. I think they'll get some sacks. I don't know if they're going to turn the ball over, and they just give up too many points for them to be fantasy viable for me. So from my perspective, take the 3 Bs, take Big Ben, take Antonio Brown, take Le'Veon Bell, and go to the bank with it because those guys are absolute studs. So with your 2016 team-by-team fantasy preview of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm your host, the G-Man, and I am out.